a lot of what you think you need to be doing is time wasting. Because when you're in that fight-flight mode, your blood is literally shunted to more primal, basic parts of your brain. You're not in higher reasoning. You're not seeing wood for trees. You're not seeing the bigger picture. So you're just in that, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And if you catch yourself, a lot of what you think you ought to be doing is not making Christmas special for everyone. It's actually setting a tone of stress in the home. As mums, we really do set the tone in the home. It's like a contagion. Our nervous system, through something called entrainment, influences the nervous system of everyone in the home with us. So we're flitting around in this fight-flight state, trying to make something magical. Let's see the irony in this. We're actually creating a tone that may be read as a low-level anxiety in our children. And so you might be giving them the memories of the gifts and the table, but there is also a memory in their nervous systems of a kind of a tone that was in the home. And so we have...
Today's guest is the vivacious and totally gorgeous Taryn Jacobs, who is a homeopath in the UK and one of the lecturers for the Centre for Homeopathic Education for over 20 years. She is an expert in women's health and has done some incredible webinars on that through CHE Pro. You can visit her website at tarynjacobs.com. That's Taryn, tarynjacobs.com. And be sure to go check out her Instagram at tarynjacobs_livewell, where she shares a lot of really practical, useful advice that you can incorporate into your life straight away. Today, she's sharing some incredible hot tips that you can use in these days leading up to Christmas and on Christmas Day itself and all the years beyond, with the incredible acronym REST, which she is going to tell you a bit more about that, what it stands for, and how you can practically incorporate that into your life. Enjoy the episode. I hope you have a beautiful festive season with your family, whether you celebrate Christmas or not. Enjoy this time with your family. Remember what really is important in this life and take a moment for yourself and to practice gratitude, take some deep breaths, spend some time in nature, and just be happy to be alive. Thanks for listening.
Welcome to the Homeopathy Hangout Podcast, where we discuss all things homeopathy from around the world. And now our mum and your host, Eugenie Kruger.
Hello, homies, and very welcome back to Homeopathy Hangout, where today we have the immense privilege of chatting with Taryn Jacobs, who is in the UK, but originally from South Africa. Welcome to the show, Taryn.
Hi, Eugenie. Thank you. So good to be here.
We've just had such a lovely chat. I very easily could have just chatted with you for an hour and not pressed the record button, because we come from the same place in South Africa, like just a couple of towns over from each other. And we're just talking about how those mountains, those incredible mountains in Cape Town just stays in your soul, hey? But we're both kind of scattered from our roots. And you're over in the UK. I'm over here in Australia now. You're also one of the incredible lecturers at the Centre for Homeopathic Education. And so I've known about you for quite a while because there's some of your videos on CHE Pro, which is how I first came to know you. And then now that I'm running CHE in Australia, of course, I'm getting to do more to do with you. And I'm like, I have to get you on the podcast because the whole world needs to know about Taryn Jacobs. But before we kind of get into all the nice little nitty gritty of it all, the drill is, tell us how you were first introduced to homeopathy.
Well, I was quite young. I was first year I was in university studying pharmacology, of all things. And I was doing it as a stepping stone to become a physiotherapist. That was my plan. I always knew from very young I was going to be in health in some way or another. So there I am studying pharmacology. And we had to do for sociology a assignment on complementary medicine, whatever that was. And just down the road from where I was staying, there was a little clinic, and I went and knocked on the door. Can I come and interview? I didn't know what I was walking into. And it was an Indian homeopath. And he was so gracious and took the time and said, sure, gave me an hour of his time. Homeopaths are always so kind. And I interviewed him. I mean, I must have looked so naive and ignorant. I'm like, what did I have been, 19, 20? Asking like my sociology questions for my pharmacology. But he was answering me with such grace and he was so grounded in what he was doing. I just had a moment of, this is what I'm meant to be doing. It was so out of the blue. It was like one of those kismet moments, just a bing tap on the shoulder. I went and withdrew from my university course. I had a student loan. It was a big mess. I had to go tell my parents. My mum and dad didn't know what homeopathy was. They thought I was going to be growing flowers in the garden. So what if I would have? But still, no idea. I just followed this guiding star, went and applied and did my, in South Africa, the homeopathy degree is quite established. It's a 6-year full-time thing. So I was in 6-year enrolled for the following year. And from one direction, it was a complete 180. Boom. And I haven't done any other work my whole life. I'm 48 now. And it's been homeopathy all the way. And that was it.
Unbelievable. I have to say, the
really
South African
cool.
homeopaths have some of the best training in the world. They really, really do.
It is phenomenal. Yeah,
it's phenomenal. And they have a lot of respect. I think homeopaths in South Africa have a lot of respect. It's quite different to here in Australia. Yeah. One of the homeopaths on my team, who's also from South Africa and studied in South Africa, she found it a really big shock when over in South Africa, you're actually looked up to as a homeopath and people have respect for you.
Absolutely.
And you can actually, you have all the same, you can write prescriptions and everything else, just like a medical doctor, and you have the title of doctor. And, she came over here in Australia and people were just saying, treating her like she was a snake oil salesman. So that was a huge shock. Huge. And, there's a large part of the population in South Africa who would put the homeopath above. I mean, soon after my training completed, I had the privilege of going on this, that was called the Pella Pepper Health Train that went through rural South Africa. And they actually didn't put Western doctors on that train. They had optometrists, they had dentists, psychologists, and homeopaths, because not for any other reason than that the people they were serving wanted the homeopaths. It was their choice. Wow.
And we got to go on as part of a medical team as homeopaths, getting fantastic experience.
Well, you have to tell me a bit more about that, because I did text Marcus and I was like, Taryn is on soon. What shall I ask her? And he said, ask her about the homeopathy train. So this must be what he was talking about.
It was amazing. Yeah, that's the train.
Okay.
It was an amazing
like an actual train, like
a literal train. Yeah. A literal train. And then it would snake through, stop in one location. You'd wake up in the morning and, it's devastating. There would be miles and miles of people because it was a very notional amount they had to pay, really small, but they would get all their health care. I tell a story, I'm sure I told it to Marcus in an interview we did, because the story sticks. It's like grafted into my being. We treated a little boy for headaches. He was getting headaches at school and we gave him Calc-Phos. I mean, there's language barrier. You're not doing an hour consultation. It's like 5-10 minutes using lots of hand signs and so it's a really good way of simplifying your homeopathic knowledge, right? So it was school, headaches, Calc-Phos. That was it. And off our train went, and we were days of travel. And this mum showed up that we had seen to give the Calc-Phos to. And she must have traveled to meet us, which would have been a big, big journey for her. And we said, what are we doing? She said, it's the first time he's been without headaches. Can we please give her, she wanted like a bucket full of Calc-Phos. She was like, nothing's ever worked. This does work, please. And she had traveled all that way to access more Calc-Phos for her son. So and that's just one of many stories. It's really, I struggle then when you come into spaces, and UK has been a bit like this. Oh, it doesn't work. I've lived experiences like that. I'm not even going to have that conversation. I'm interested in, let's get on and do the work,
Yeah.
But yeah, that was very special.
Now, you say you've not done anything else other than homeopathy, but you do yoga. Do you teach yoga as well, I think, hey?
I did Kundalini yoga training. I did teach actively for a while. I'm not teaching classes anymore, but I weave it into my practice. We've got so many beautiful mantras, and they call them medical meditations that access breath work, posture, sound, healing, that I feel complements the homeopathic journey. So I will sometimes prescribe one of those meditations to go along with the remedies, and it's bespoke to the person. So that's how I use it now.
I have to give our listeners a top tip, and that is to go check out Taryn on Taryn Jacobs _livewell on Instagram, because she actually has incredibly useful tips there that you can use in your daily life. And you've got a few like a little embodiment tips there and tips for this and that and the next thing. I found it really helpful. But
good. I like to share that.
Good. Yeah, keep sharing, because, sometimes I know what it's like you share things on Instagram and you're kind of like, hello, is anyone out there? Is this actually helping anyone? But it is actually, you've got very practical stuff on there that I think is really, really great.
Yeah. And my sort of target is busy women who have very full lives, who need support and easy, accessible ways to take care of themselves. I mean, we're in 2025. It's manic out there. We were talking before, we've got kids, managing kids, life, work, homes, social media, the whole thing. Our nervous systems need a lot of care, and not everyone knows how. And think that self-care is just laying in a bath, which is lovely. I lay in the bath. It's lovely, but that's not where it ends, So I like to share there.
Well, I'm one of those culprits that I think I'm just learning about self-care now and still don't fully embody that. But I realize that I need to not be working my butt off 24/7, because that's not a good example to now my students. I'm a principal now, so I need to act principally, however that is. But I need to actually walk the walk and not just say, go and do this. I need to actually embody it and do it myself. And it just, everything happens for a reason. And it just so happens that your episode is already pre-scheduled for the 22nd of December. And before we came on today, I'm like, you are the perfect person to ask, because this episode is coming out 3 days before Christmas. Now, I know what I'm going to be like, because the in-laws are going to be there, and I'm going to try and please everybody and clean up after everyone and cook for everyone and keep everyone happy. And, that is just my MO, my modus operandi. Keeping everybody, putting myself last. And I know my nervous system will be fried. And I know a lot of my clients and a lot of my students and a lot of the other mothers around the world are going to be doing the same thing. So what advice do you have for us 3 days before Christmas to nourish our nervous systems and have good boundaries and not overgive? And what advice do you have for us?
Well, I've often used this analogy. Imagine, and I think it's quite a powerful visual to motivate you. Imagine your Christmas day and your Christmas Eve and all the things. If someone had to come in and take a snapshot, a photograph of the day, how would you appear? Would you see your whole family smiling and laughing? You're just like a haze. A blur in the background.
That's literally exactly what it would be like. And I should make just a caveat. I have the best in-laws in the world. It's not them, it's me. I want to do everything for everyone.
Ours. This is ours to own. Do you want to be that? It's remembering you have choice. I think a lot of us mistake self-care as, I've got to get my nervous system so well that I can overextend. And I think that's where we've got it back. The self-care piece is remembering we have autonomy. We have a beautiful body that is communicating with us all the time. What I think is one of the saddest things for women is that from really young, you are taught to disconnect from that body. In every way, you are taught not to trust that body, not to live in alignment with that body. So you have this body who is literally here to teach you what your limits are, to show you how to thrive, to give you those little bits of feedback, but we're not listening. And to remember that if you just came back for one moment, listened into your body, you have choice. You have choice. You are creating that experience. There's no one else expecting it from you but you, 9 times out of 10, right? So that just knowing you have choice, that for me is the key piece of it. That's not the sexy self-care that people want to hear. That's not the 10 tips too, but it's the meaningful self-care. So I teach this little rest ritual. I came up with this little acronym, REST. And I suggest to my patients, and I do it, you set your alarm on your phone every hour, as an example. You could, or every 2 hours, however often you want to do it. And you take 1 to 2 minutes to do the rest ritual. Okay. So the R stands for consciously relaxing. So your muscles will respond to your instruction and your thought. So if you closed your eyes for a second and you sent a message to your shoulders, to your jaw, to your pelvis, to your belly, all the places women hold their tension, you said, I am safe, you are safe right now, just for the next 2 minutes to relax. And you make that conscious decision to lower the shoulders, soften the jaw, soften in the pelvis. Your muscles will respond. Takes 2 seconds. The E is for exhale. So when we exhale for longer than the inhale, our autonomic nervous system adjusts so that our parasympathetic becomes more dominant, okay? So we take a nice deep inhale and then we exhale, and I recommend we do this through the nose. We exhale and making sure that exhale goes for longer than the inhale. So for example, say your inhale is a 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4, then maybe make your exhale a 6 or even an 8 if you can. And you do that 3 times. So you've done the relax, you've done the exhale. And then the S is an important one. Just slow down. And Christmas is a perfect example of this. We tend to do things really quickly. And when our muscles are moving so quickly and the brain is firing so quickly, the nervous system is getting the input. This is urgent. Something's urgent. And I wouldn't normally move urgently unless there was a threat. The nervous system doesn't know it's to get beautiful Christmas ready, or whether that's like the saber-toothed tiger coming. So slow down, make that intention to just, can you stir your tea a little slower? Like, do you have to? Can you wrap the gift a little slower? When you're setting the table, can you do it slowly and with intention? And remember why you're doing what you're doing. So simple. And then the T in the little ritual is to tune in. So it's a simple inquiry. What do you need right now to yourself? And it might be so simple. You know, you need that pee you've been holding in for the last hour.
How do you know that?
Yeah. Or you really are thirsty. You know, you've asked yourself the question, you've relaxed, you've taken your exhales, you've moved yourself into a more parasympathetic state, you're slowing everything down, and now you're available to ask a question. What do you need? Like, what do you need? Oh, wow, I'm thirsty. I'm hungry. I haven't eaten since I skipped breakfast. I need to pick up, or it's not what you need to do, is what do you need? And that can take you, this little ritual can take all of 2 minutes. And if you did that frequently through the day, you are going to feel a different person.
So where can we buy our Taryn Jacobs branded T-shirts with REST acronym and the everything on?
I guess that's next.
So we can all wear it and like walk around and like remind each other about this. I love practical things like this, that anybody can set a reminder on their alarm to go off every hour or two and do these 4 simple things, and it's going to take you 2 minutes. But I felt relaxed just listening to you doing all of those.
You know what happens, Eugenie? You start to do this more. And you'll get sort of halfway through your day and you'll realize that a lot of what you think you need to be doing is time wasting.
Yes.
Because when you're in that fight-flight mode, your blood is literally shunted to more primal basic parts of your brain. You're not in higher reasoning. You're not seeing wood for trees. You're not seeing the bigger picture. So you're just in that, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And if you catch yourself, a lot of what you think you ought to be doing is not making Christmas special for everyone. It's actually setting a tone of stress in the home. As mums, we really do set the tone in the home. It's like a contagion. Our nervous system, through something called entrainment, influences the nervous system of everyone in the home with us. So we're flitting around in this fight-flight state, trying to make something magical. Let's see the irony in this. We're actually creating a tone that may be read as a low-level anxiety in our children. And so you might be giving them the memories of the gifts and the table, but there is also a memory in their nervous systems of a kind of the tone that was in the home. And so we have huge influence over the magic in the space we put ourselves in, our nervous system state that we choose to embody, that more relaxed state. And I can say that consciously over the last 4 or 5 years, our Christmases have become quieter and slower and more relaxed. And my children have referenced it.
Mm. That is so beautiful. I feel like you're speaking directly at me. Like, I feel like this episode is especially for me. but I know that there's so many other mothers out there that need to hear exactly what you've just said. For me also, I see myself doing exactly what my mum did and my grandmother did. They were the most hardworking people that I've ever met in my life. And I don't want that, as amazing as it was to witness, that's been passed on. And I don't want my daughter to have that same thing. And so I'm a huge advocate of our kids will do what we do, not what we say. So there's no good me saying to her, don't run around after everyone else, have good boundaries, take care of your nervous system when I'm not doing it myself. And so I'm realizing very quickly, as she's just turned 11, I need to be embodying exactly all of this because she's going to be doing what I do, not what I say. So thank you for this beautiful advice.
We have memories of my granny at Christmas, but my memories are of her and my mum in their aprons doing the dishes. And I'm sure there were a lot of other happy memories they created, but that sticks. Isn't that interesting?
So interesting. You have a few other really good embodiment practices and things that you do as well. I saw a great reel that you did. This is something that I do before my 3 boys come home, which, 3 boys, that would probably be frying your nervous system if anything will.
They keep me on my toes.
So what are some other things that you do to kind of like show up in the best way possible for your family?
Yeah. So for me, transitions are really significant. It was a somatic therapist who taught me the power of transitions. As women, we maybe all people are like this. I can only speak for as a woman, right? We run into things. So we don't really complete a thing, take pause, honor the transition before we enter in to a new thing. So whether that's an activity, a space, we will run from home to car to office to shop, and it's all kind of blurring and blending into one another. And I think women do this because we can. We have the capacity, but just because we can doesn't mean we should, and it's good for us. So for me, I've taken a special interest in the transitions. How do I mark transitions? So how do I take one hat off and put the other on? Because you've seen patients all day, you're in that particular role, and now in mum role, as soon as they all come home from school, for example. So I create a little buffer. And what I do in that space is I try and move in some way. So I've got this fun playlist I made for myself on Spotify called Dance Break. Anyone can find it and use it.
Oh, great. Yeah, I was going to say, please send it to me.
It's public. You can. And I just press shuffle. And then there's this like divine game I play. I let the universe see what song I need and I will dance. That's a biggie for me. I might jump around like a loon. That's okay. Sometimes I need to lay on my back and hug my legs in and roll around. It'll depend on how I'm feeling, what cycle that I am in. But there needs to be some honoring of transition, and it normally involves movement for me, shaking off that, all the energy of being in one space before I move into being with them. But even just practicing that art of when you enter into a new space or a new room, just take a beat. I just try and take a beat, take the room in, who's in the space, take a breath, tune into what's going on rather than just bulldozing in and pushing on with the next thing. That has helped me hugely,
That's really beautiful. We do have such crazy lives as mums, and so it is, like I said, all this practical advice is so helpful. I also love when I see a homeopath like yourself, that is, you're not just doing the homeopathic consultation and that's it, you give a remedy and here you go. Like, you have all the lifestyle changes and things that go alongside, which Hahnemann does say that we should do, but I don't know how many homeopaths actually practice that themselves and then also, are able to teach that to their clients. So it's really beautiful that you are incorporating that into your homeopathic practice.
Yeah, I think times have changed. 2025 is a lot different to when Hahnemann was doing his thing. There's a lot of education. I think the education piece in homeopathy has become more and more important. just giving one remedy is not going to cut it for somebody who's unaware. And it's not that people don't want to be healthy. I think everyone wants to be healthy. It's just awareness, right? So I think there's a lot of education in my consultations. I use the Kundalini because I think the nervous system state really has to be addressed for people, especially post-COVID. I don't know what you've seen in your practice, but
absolutely.
A lot more anxiety, a lot more insomnia, there's a lot more symptoms of a nervous system that somewhat traumatized.
In children
and so
as well, children as much as adults.
Yeah. We do need to support our patients in all the ways that we possibly can.
Does your practice mostly revolve around women, or you treat men as well?
Women and children.
Oh, women and children. Yeah, me too.
Women and children.
Yeah. And you talk a lot about like the female cycles and rhythms and things like that. Can you share like a little bit about the importance of that and how we can kind of embrace that and flow with it and go with it as opposed to kind of like pushing against it?
Yeah, I see it as just part of nervous system health, because a woman's body, being cyclical, has different hormonal states through her quote unquote 28 days. Listen, that's textbook. It's not always 28 days. And then a different hormonal state through perimenopause and menopause. And so we are having to adjust our expectations of what we are going to achieve in a day based on where our body is at. Our body is moving through these different states and we have different capacity. When we don't acknowledge the particular state we're in, we're probably pushing past our capacity. And when you're pushing past your capacity or not optimizing the times when you have more capacity, you are digging into stress hormones are going to have to be released into your system to enable you to cope past the limits placed by your body. And so a woman who's living like that for most of her life, by the time she gets to her perimenopause, is so surprised that it's horrendous for her. And she's having such an awful time because for years she's been living outside of her limits and trying to match the energy of her male counterpart by being the same every day with the same output and the same capacity. And that has meant she's depleted a lot of her adrenal reserves. So by the time she gets to that time, her body's going, we're not doing this anymore. You need to come back home. Come back to the body. And it's not like we're slaves to the body. I don't want to say it that way. But this is an oracle. The body is this source of wisdom that's letting you know, I have evolved over thousands and thousands of years. I know a thing or two on how to thrive on this planet. Let me show you. And when we listen, we thrive. And it's a long game. It's not a get through the week game. It's a long game. It's a longevity game. It's how, setting yourself up for a long and healthy life. So for me, it's a basic tenet of self-care to be listening to where I am in my cycle and what does that mean for my output today? And also, what does it mean for how much input I need on this day? It's balancing that giving and the receiving. And at different times of the cycle we have, there's a different dynamic around that. And it all balances. If you go with it, you realize it all balances out. But I also like to have fun with it. Like I like to teach women, for example, not to go swimsuit shopping at particular parts of your cycle or when you can optimize, the hormones if you want to pitch a new business idea, when to do it. We can have fun with it as well because there are times that we will, be more primed for particular activity.
I had the most insanely productive day yesterday, and I was saying to my staff, I'm like, I really need to get more in tune with when it is that I have these days in my cycle.
Exactly.
And I've been saying this for ages. You'd think I'd have done it by now, but I definitely know that certain days I'm just so productive, and other days it's just hard slog. And this is something where I'm sure my daughter won't mind me sharing, but she went to this beautiful girls' celebration day recently with some other girls her age. So they're 11, so they just, before they're heading into menarche. And they had the most beautiful lady who's a doula here in Perth, and she did this celebration with them where they, got to look at tampons and pads and all organic and like cups and everything. Like she's very, very conscious. I showed them all these beautiful items. And then, they made little crystal bracelets and a mandala, and they talked about how they want to celebrate when they get their period, like what they want their mums to do with it for them. And every month when they have their period, what little celebrations they want their mum to do. Do they want sushi, or do they want to have a bath, or do they want to light some candles then? And I am so excited when I think of this generation of young girls that's getting raised to love their bodies and get in tune with their cycle and see it for the superpower that it is, instead of trying to hide it or push through it or anything like that. That makes me really, really excited
Me too.
Yeah.
And I love that you say this, because my message has always been, I'm not worried about the children. They're like a new species. I see things in them. I can't believe their confidence. I can't believe their, compared to how I was as a kid. It's our generation. We need to take care of ourselves. When we are good, our kids are good. And I see so many mums putting all of their resources and all of their energy, because it's the program, right, to self-sacrifice for your kids. But the kids are good. The kids are going to be okay. And I look at our generation of, I don't know, sort of, I don't want to give our age.
No, I'm same age as you, yeah.
Our generation that grew up in the sort of 70s, 80s, 90s.
I'm still Gen X, holding strong for Gen X.
I think there's a lot to unpack there. There's a lot. And, I see a lot of us are cycle breakers. And we've come in and said, listen, that lineage way of doing things is not going to cut it anymore. It stops with me. But let's take a moment to honor how much of a hard journey that is. That is not, oh, that was easy, we cut that now. This is calling a whole generation of women, our generation of women, to do deep, deep healing work, to have the courage and the bravery to try something in a new way.
Absolutely. I was having a chat with a mum yesterday that, the way that we're, homeschooling our kids if school doesn't work out for them, or that we're, doing family traditions and things in a different way. Like, I'm not doing Christmas the way that my family did it, or I'm not, schooling the way that I was schooled, and I'm not parenting the way that I was parented. And maybe I'm too honest with my kids, but I have these conversations with them and I say to them, look, I wasn't given a handbook with you guys. I know this is how I was raised, and there's a few things that I want to change. So I'm like trying this out on you guys because I want you to be able to, be able to speak up and be brave and be this and be that, and not just follow the system. And so, I might stuff it up, but we're going to try things a little bit of a different way. Yeah. So we have very open conversations in our house. And I'll tell you what, watch this space. I'll tell you in 10 or 20 years if that was a good thing or not.
But at least we're trying, know, and as long as we're coming at it with, as you say, open communication and compassion, and huge buckets of compassion and self-forgiveness for ourselves. Yeah, as you say, watch this space. So
only
so
time will tell.
I tell people I have 3 boys, and they go, "Oh, I don't have that experience of them. I actually really adore my kids. Listen, no one's perfect. None of us are. But they're cool to be around. They've been, these are healthy kids. They've been treated with homeopathy their whole lives, very minimal interventions. I think the proof is starting to show in the pudding for us. I can honestly say that it has been worth it. I can see the good.
It is a privilege raising boys in this day and age, and especially raising boys who are confident in themselves. And Marcus Fernandez and I've talked about it, but I'm sure you've talked about it with him. And, he's got his podcast, Beyond the Shed, and he's obviously got a boy, similar age as mine. And he's such a good role model for what a healthy, well-balanced male should be like and act like. I just really feel he's a shining light in this world where men are really trying to find their place and where do they belong. They've had a rough journey. And so to raise a boy in this day and age, I think is a huge privilege, because we have the power in our hands to really make an impact for the next generation and raise boys that are kind and compassionate, yet very strong in their masculinity, which I think is really important.
Yeah.
And real balance.
This hits really deeply for me because I take that job very seriously. As raising healthy boys, I don't think is easy today with social media. I'll give you a personal example, and I'm sure my son won't mind me sharing this. We were doing a tour of the health club. We're going to join the gym as the family. Okay. He already goes to gym, but we're going to go. I had this little moment with my inner child where she said she misses swimming. So I went, we're going to go join the health club with the good pool. So we're doing the rounds, and we saw the woman doing their Zumba class through the glass. And it's all of us middle-aged women, right? And I love Zumba. And he shared with me this meme trend that's going around TikTok of the young male gym guys pausing between their weights and laughing at the middle-aged women who are doing their Zumba. And, well, why don't they just do weights? And I was really triggered by it. I didn't respond in the moment. I let it sit for 24 hours, and then I sat and had a chat with him because I felt it was really important. I explained how inappropriate that is. And it's this that I take it's so important to me. Those middle-aged women might not be able to lift the weight that young guy can weight because that's not her job. That middle-aged woman's probably birthed a number of children or lost babies or come to terms with their infertility. Every 3 of those women has had a sexual abuse. Those women have battled eating disorders. They've had to fight to get education. They've had to fight. That strength is not material, as in you can see them lift that weight. It's a quiet strength, and it's the kind of strength those young men need to have respect for. I believe most of what I said went over his head. He's 17 and he was probably doing a lot of internal eye rolling. But it's important to me that seed in amongst all this distortion around male-female dynamics, men and women. And I could see, it was placed, and I could see he was kind of glazing over. Here goes Mom. So I thought, I'm going to stop. And I said to him, you know what? The thing is, men lift weights so they can get strong and protect those women. That's their job. It's not the woman's job. Now, I'm not against women going and lifting weights. It's a huge move to do that. But not all women can. If you're pregnant, you can't. If you're perimenopausal, sometimes whatever's going on for you, you can't. If you're premenstrual, you can't. The man, you go lift your weights, my boy. Get strong and protect those women. But let's not participate in the mocking. And so, as I said, I think a lot of it went over the head. It's fine. But our job is to bring that sacred back, I think, to the woman.
Yeah, my son's 14 now, and we're having lots of conversations like that as well, because we did homeschool for a while, and he was in a Steiner school for a while, and now he's in a different school. And so there's different conversations had at this school, and you really have to have a close eye on what they're exposed to and making sure that we're coming in there with our, just a different point of view and a different way of seeing things. I had a conversation with him the other day because Robert Irwin, everyone knows Robert Irwin, has just won Dancing with the Stars. And he said the other day, Mum, I'm such a good boy. You should see what the other kids in my school do. And I said, Joshy, you are a good boy. And you know what? Good boys are cool again because Robert Irwin has made it cool to be a good boy. Like, you will not find any dirt on him. Everybody loves him. If anybody says a mean thing on anything that's posted about Robert Irwin online, you will get 1,000 people bashing that person for saying
brilliant.
And so I'm like, Joshy, good boys are cool again. So you just be a good boy, help ladies across the street. We had a friend sleepover with my daughter the other day, and I said to him, go carry her bags back into the car, and he did it without hesitation. So just bringing that back, it's okay to be a gentleman, it's okay to be kind, and it's okay to be strong in your masculinity all at the same time. We need more of that.
And when this circles right back to what you were asking about Christmas and our nervous system, and that is why that is so important. That is why our self-care is so important, so that we can be present to these kinds of conversations in a relaxed way, or we can be present to what our boys need from us, or so we can be attuned to their needs. Because when we're in that stress, getting everything done, rushing, we miss a lot. Miss, those important moments to have those conversations.
I was just giggling because I just
following Robert Irwin.
Oh, you so should. He's the best. We're just giggling at myself because, we had no plan for what we were going to talk about. And I actually think this is like the best conversation ever and so needed.
And we're not talking about homeopathy.
I just realized it's been
you want to speak about some homeopathy?
That's so funny. It's been like about an hour. We haven't talked about homeopathy. So yeah, homeopathy, that thing. Yeah, so about that. No, I'm kidding. So what I was going to ask is that you've been teaching at CHE for how many years now?
Well, I don't know, 20 something. I don't know.
Isn't it incredible? Like, I think part of that's, like, I've said this a few times, I think it speaks to the testament of Marcus Fernandez and what an amazing leader he is. That most of the lecturers there, like Hilary Dorian, Tony Hurley, that so many of them have actually lectures there for 20 or more years. It really is quite incredible.
Yeah.
And the CHE students are so lucky to benefit from the richness of the variety of lecturers. Oh my gosh, I just interviewed Ralph Yoiter as well. Holy moly.
Ralph.
He's incredible. And I'm loving pretending to be a student all over again. And because I studied at a different college many years ago, so I haven't gone through the CHE curriculum myself. So I'm going through it with the students, watching all the lectures on, arnica and the history of the homeopathy, philosophy of it. And wow, I wish I trained with CHE all those years ago.
Are you getting to do it now?
I am. And you do a lot of supervising as well. What sort of...
I love supervision.
Yeah, tell me a bit about that and what about that lights you up?
What about it lights me up? I think I just love watching the little flicker that starts, the tiny little spark become this huge flame. And to be a part of fanning it, for me, is a real privilege. And I love helping. I do note that with a lot of students, there's a lot of fear that starts to come up around homeopathy. And we could talk till the cows come home about where that might come from, but it is. And I like to be a voice of calm. And I like to remind students that there is actually no place for fear in homeopathy. This is a safe, gentle, kind modality. And that as women, because I tend to supervise a lot of the female students, homeopathy attracts a lot of females. It's a very interesting thing to me. It's such a process of finding their confidence and finding their own voice and finding their own creative energy or their creative sort of influence that can come over how they prescribe and breaking out of these molds of, well, that's how you have to do it and that's how so-and-so from hundreds of years ago did it. And just allowing them to breathe into, well, what's my flair? What do I bring to it here? How can I be creative with it? Because, that's what I love to do. I love to watch.
I think that's kind of like the ethos of CHE anyway, is that, they're trying to help you become the homeopath that you are going to be, or bring out the homeopath in you, not just make little mini clones. I really think
your patient group are going to find you because of your energy.
Yes.
It's your energy, and they're not going to see anyone else, no matter the credentials, because it's your energy that they're vibing with, really. And so we can't be trying to be someone else, because then our energy is not distinct for our patients to find us. Also, I'm a big believer, these guys were revolutionary thinkers, right? They were thinking way outside of the box. You take Schussler even. He was kicked out of, he was ostracized and had to move out into the countryside. These were people who had the courage to think differently. So why wouldn't you now? Or, it's your turn. You need to have the courage to think differently. Times have changed. We need to have a different approach. So, yeah.
Love that.
That's why I like supervising.
Are you still how do you kind of divide your time between lecturing and supervising in your own, how do you do, and are you still taking on new clients and
so because self-care is such, and that's the other part of the supervision I enjoy, is I have a big passion for sustainable practice. I've seen a lot of homeopaths qualify and then burn out or just think, I can't do this, it's too much. So I'm heavy on sustainable practice. How do you create a practice in which your self-care is priority? Because if you're not well, there is no practice, right? So I have a very balanced practice. So today's Thursday. I normally have Thursdays off. I lecture on weekends, or I go into London. It's like one Saturday a month, so that's quite easy to do, and it's a nice opportunity to get into London, see my colleagues. It feels like fun as well. I think that's the hard part.
It is the hard part.
It's work, but it's also playtime. It's also fun. So I do that. And then from 3 in the afternoons, I'm with my kids. They come home from school. And then on a Friday, I swap that round. So I have Friday morning off and I work Friday afternoons and my hubby's around. But even then, I'm looking now because my 9-year-old keeps saying, "Oh, why do you have to work on Friday evenings?" And I'm really listening to him. So I'll see how to play with it. But I'm always balance is forefront of my mind all the time.
But that's the joy of our job, is that we do get to switch things around as needed, which is amazing. Now,
we have choice.
Choice. You talk about, actually, there was one other thing where you said about like sustainable practice, which is so important, but also being financially like abundant and successful and those sorts of things. You talk about that on your socials as well, which I really like.
Yeah, I just did a workshop on it, actually.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. For me, money is a frequency, and homeopaths for the longest time have had this almost poverty consciousness where there's been this shame around charging, or
and like there's pride, like they almost boast about not making money or like how little money can you make. It's interesting.
And we have a modality that is changing lives. It's changing genetic expression. It's cutting ancestral patterns. And why is that? Why is there shame about asking for compensation for that? A dermatologist would ask for compensation. A plumber would ask for compensation, for goodness sakes. So that is a passion project of mine, is helping homeopaths get out of this poverty consciousness. What is that story? Where is it coming from? Looking at the beliefs around that, changing beliefs around that, but also getting really grounded in managing cash flow well and investing and things like that as well. And then obviously with Kundalini Yoga, we have a few little kriyas that are specifically to magnetize money. So when we bring all those things together, gold. Fun.
Is that all online or is it in person, or how do you do those?
That was an online, that was an in-person workshop.
Okay.
I did record it, so I am going to edit it and put it online so people can access it.
Amazing. And I'm just checking, do you normally advertise your courses through your social media or through your website?
Both.
Both. Okay. So TarynJacobs.com. So TARYN Jacobs.com. Yeah. And then do you have like a newsletter that people can sign up to you do here at the bottom. Okay. Sign up with your email address to receive news and updates.
I don't send that out regularly at the moment.
So social media is best.
Social media for now is best because, like you said, in the interest, it's one of those things. You can have newsletters and you can have this and you can hustle and you can do all the things. But one thing you'll know about me is I do walk my talk. I have this incapacity to be inauthentic. So if I'm sharing a thing, I'm doing the thing. So I can't say yes to everything and do everything and do the newsletter and the practice and it's Tosha Silva who I love, and I actually love her work. You have to say no to good things so that you can say yes to the really, really big and important things. And that's something I struggle with as a workaholic. But I've got it in check now. So you can sign up. I can't guarantee a newsletter's coming at this point.
Maybe just go on socials and your son can sort out the socials for us.
Yes.
Okay.
Come on Instagram.
Yeah, so people can go to Taryn Jacobs _live well, I think from memory was your... sounds right. Amazing. Taryn, it's been so lovely to connect with you. It
has been fun.
I feel, I feel like I'm talking to like a rock star when I get to like interview people who I've watched lots of webinars and things like that with. So then it's just so great to get to actually chat with you, kind of like in e-person. E-meet you in person. Thank you so much for today. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the practical Christmas tips. I know that's going to help me a lot. And I'm going to go set that reminder on my phone right now for rest.
REST. I feel like I want to break out in song. We can adapt Aretha Franklin. Exactly. I think that's the key, though, is remembering that we're creating joy for everyone else, but we want joy too. Our bodies thrive on joy. One thing I'm sure you've seen from some of my lectures is the whole hormonal system works perfectly when we are in a state of joy and gratitude and connection. Like all the right hormones do all the right things. So it's essential that we prioritize our joys equal to everyone else. You know, we don't even have to put ourselves first. We just need to at least join the fun, you know, be part of it.
I have the melody sorted. R and E and S and T. Find out what it means to me.
Yay!
Amazing.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Hopefully I'll be singing it all through Christmas.
Thank you so much for your time today. I really, really, really appreciate it. And I hope I get to see you in the UK soon. I know Marcus has got some cool CHE Pro. Well, I don't think he's advertised it like publicly yet about what's happening with CHE Pro. So I don't know. We can kind of just tease people here for now, but I don't think he's made it too public yet. But there's exciting stuff happening. But yeah, I'm going to try and do my best to see you at the end of March, but we'll see. Watch the space.
Oh, that would be so great. I would love that.
I would love that too.
Yeah. And it'll be warming up, hopefully. It's freezing now.
That's okay. I love the cold. I don't mind. I don't know what I'm boiling here in Perth. I get sad when it gets too hot. I'll send you some of our sunshine. You can have some of it.
Yes, please. Yes.
Thank you so much, Taryn. I really appreciate it. And keep sharing your amazing things on social. They really do help.
I will. I enjoy it.
Thank you.
Bye.